All right, you guys, the blood work is in. Okay, guys, so a quick recap. 4 months ago, I went to the doctor for a checkup, and this is a new doctor, and he was not happy with my HA1C results on my blood test, and they were at 5.7, and according to him, it put me in the pre-diabetic zone. He told me I was pre-diabetic, and that scared me because I didn't want to start going down that road. Now, I suppose I'm supposed to be somewhere between 4.8 and 5.6. So technically, I'm just barely in the pre-diabetic zone, but nonetheless, I wanted to bring it lower, and I wanted to get out of that zone at all, right? As a side note, I did see my former doctor who is doing other things now, but she saw that and she was not alarmed at that number whatsoever, told me not to worry about it. But I'm still on this quest. I stayed on this quest to lower it. I went low carb. I took out sugar, period, and white flour and lots of carbs. And I just was thinking, I'm just going to see what this is going to do. On a side note, I also have the familial hypercholesterolemia, which is like the hereditary form, one of the hereditary forms of high cholesterol, which means no matter what I do, I will have high cholesterol. I have been totally 100% plant-based in the past 4 years and have still had a cholesterol of over 300, maybe 350. So that's not like a really big deal to me, although it's always scared the doctors. Now, I have been on statins in the past. This last doctor that I saw, of course, he saw that I had, what was it, a total cholesterol at that time of 366, and that scared him, and he wanted to get it down, so he put me on a higher than I've been at dose of statins. And I said, okay, I'll do it. Now, this was 4 months ago, and after looking at some research that Dr. Ken Berry brought forward, I will try to link his video below where he actually brings up a study that was, I think it was done during this past year, where they're actually admitting that cholesterol really isn't the biomarker that they thought it was for all-cause mortality, cardiac events, things like that. And what we really should be looking at is the triglycerides and the sugars in your blood, the HA1C, diabetes, and that kind of thing is really what causes all of the arterial sclerosis and the arterial damage and stuff like that. And so I really looked into a lot of this stuff. There's a few more doctors that that I have found that really feel, a lot of them really, that feel the same way, and that they're coming on board, but they're coming on board slowly because I believe that they also have to battle the big pharma mindset that's been so ingrained in society for a long time. I mean, it's there, right? So finding something new, I think when there's a lot of money to be made is makes it harder to bring new information out. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But in any case, it was my decision. I took the statins for about a week 4 months ago. And then I decided, after the evidence that I looked at and the research that I have done for myself, I decided for myself that I was going to put those statins aside and I was going to do this experiment on myself. So since my theory, and I've read a lot about this before, is that especially for people like me that have this hereditary form, the more cholesterol you eat, the less I make. Right? Bad cholesterol that I make. And so I'm like, I'm going to put this theory to the test. I have kind of seen that in the past with my eating and my test results and stuff, but I really wanted to go full force and take a look at that. So, and mind you, it's only been 4 months. So if I went through this a whole year, I'm just thinking, okay, the results could be much more amplified. I'll get to the HA1C level in a minute. But I think this is really important because I think a lot of people struggle with this cholesterol issue. And so I didn't take the statins for 4 months. I haven't taken statins. Instead, I went low carb, and I took all my sugars out, all the white flour and the breads and pastas and white potatoes out. I haven't had a potato in forever. I even stopped having sweet potatoes. There's more than enough veggies for me to have. I mean, for now, I don't feel deprived in any way. I make sure that I'm well-rounded. So what happened was my cholesterol, mind you, I'm going to be high no matter what, without the statins and going low carb. Here I thought, oh my goodness, it's going to reach 800. I'm eating all this, I'm eating fat, I'm eating meat, I'm eating eggs like every single day, maybe once or twice a day I'll have eggs, and so who knows what it'll be. But in my mind, I thought it's got to level out somewhere, right? I mean, it's not going to reach 1,000 just because you're eating eggs and bacon or whatever, and then your head's going to explode or something. Somewhere it has to find an equilibrium, right? Your body works it out. And so the results then are, last time I took it 4 months ago was 366. My total cholesterol this time is 356. So this is with no statins and going low carb and having a lot of cholesterol in my diet. It's gone down by 10 points. And let me break that down because it's really exciting once I break it down. And again, I know I just said cholesterol wasn't really a marker for this, but there's some things that you need to look at here. Because if they're saying that HDL cholesterol is the good cholesterol, and that's the one that you want to go up because that one kind of like lowers your risk for heart disease according to the whole research, then my HDL went up by 14 points. I went from 57 up to 71. So then that would be good, right? Okay, and my VLDL, which is the cholesterol that is basically responsible for the hardening of the arteries, that would be the bad one. I actually went from 39 4 months ago all the way down to 14, which tells me that that's woohoo, that's great. If I were to do a particle test on my cholesterol, that would say that I have the really buoyant, wonderful, fluffy cholesterol that is not going to hurt me. And this is the most exciting part, I think. This is it. This is like the trophy of the day, really. My triglycerides 4 months ago was 192, which is really anything over 149 is like high. So it was 192 last time. Then I gave up all the sugar and all the white flour and all those carbs. Guess where I'm at today? Triglycerides are 90. So I dropped 102 points on my triglycerides, which is amazing because the triglycerides also are supposedly responsible, and I do believe this, for the hardening of the arteries and for all that arterial damage. So this is a really big win. Even though you're looking at the total cholesterol number looks, it's a little lower than last time, which is great. It's okay. I think it's fine. So anyway, I consider that a huge win. Now let's get over to my HA1C, hemoglobin HA1C. And this is the thing that really perplexed me, but I kind of understand it. The HA1C last time was 5.7, right? And I gave up all my sugars and everything, right, for 4 months. And today it is still 5.7. So it hasn't moved, it hasn't gone up, hasn't dropped yet. But I've been listening to the Beat Diabetes channel a lot, and there's a lot of testimonies that write in and that they share on the channel. And a lot of people say that sometimes it just takes more than 6 months to a year before you see the drop. And it has only been 4 months with me. And so I'm fine. I'm just going to ride it out because apparently, according to all these other markers, to me, especially with the triglyceride drop, it shows me that I am on the right track. I am doing the right thing. And I'm doing this without taking statins, and my body is correcting itself, and I'm not worried about the total cholesterol number, given all the information that I've run across. I think I've totally been doing a great job, and these numbers are awesome, I think. For 4 months, I think it's absolutely beautiful. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping for that big dramatic HA1C drop moment, but it hasn't been that long. And perhaps maybe it would have dropped further and more dramatically, I think, if because it stayed the same. If I would have had my total carb intake at 25 per day instead of 50 or less, but I've been trying to put my low carb lifestyle together in a way that I feel I want to live. I want to have the almond flour pancakes once in a while. I want to have the things that make me feel like I'm still, incorporated into my family. And also my husband's doing it as well. And I didn't want to do it in a way that would shock him, because then he'd never want to do this again. And I wanted to do this together with him. So I really felt like I needed to do it by easing a little bit more. You know what I mean? So staying into this whole program. So staying underneath 50 carbs per day, I think, has been really good for both of us. And we'll probably drop a little bit more in the future, because I think that I am going to be dropping the HA1C because I'm going to be sticking with this. So maybe a couple more months, maybe the year checkup will go by, and then then I'll see the dramatic change. But for now, I'm very happy with this. And I am so glad that you're here to share this journey with me. So thank you so much for waiting for me to come up with these results. So anyway, I'll keep a watch on that, keep you updated, and I will see you guys later. Thank you so much. Hey guys, my freezer in the garage went out, so I had to cook some vegetables up all of a sudden. And so I thought, well, I'll just make some veggie soups. This one has riced cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots, and spinach. And then I threw in some chicken broth, some garlic powder, seasoning, some other seasonings, salt. And then I have some in here for my kids that have like corn and beans and peas in them. So I'm having to cook these up. Oh, I also had a whole bunch of hash browns that needed to be cooked up. So I'm thinking I might cream these, but I'm not quite sure. I'm going to see how they cook up and see how I like the texture. It smells really good. I think this is going to be a really good way to get in a ton of veggies this week. So anyway, I think what I might do is add a little bit of heavy cream to this before I cream it. All right, so I did add the heavy cream, and come to find out, I really like the texture of this. This kind of reminds me of a zuppa toscana type of a look, and I think I'm just going to leave it this way. I'm going to cool it down, jar it up, and put it in the fridge, and then that way I'll have it ready to go. Then when I recooked it, I'll show you, I actually added some ground beef to this and a little Parmesan on top. Oh, it was magnificent. So for dinner here, just a real quick little dinner, I have some Italian sausage from Walmart, and I browned it with some onion and some garlic powder, a whole bunch of cabbage, fresh cabbage, and I'm just going to wilt it down until it gets really nice and savory. And then I'll add some pepper, and I might put a little Parmesan on top. But this is pretty much going to be a real simple dinner, and I have to tell you, this was absolutely amazing. My husband absolutely loved it. It was kind of like the egg roll in a bowl thing, so I could have added more veggies to this, but it was really amazing. And I think we used a little sriracha on top too, and that really complemented the pork. But we like to keep our dishes pretty simple. Next morning, I have some eggs and scrambled eggs, 2 eggs and some egg whites, and those waffles are low carb almond meal, and I'm using some sugar-free syrup and that sugar-free jam on top.